Hello there, you're watching Nightline with me, Liyana Hassanel. News making the headlines. Kedah MB aware of rare earth element theft in SIG. And man remanded for throwing nieces onto ground and off first floor. Good morning. Not only was the Kedah government well aware of the theft concerning rare earth elements happening in the state since February, it had also allegedly destroyed all evidence of the said thievery at the crime scene. Home Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail revealed that caretaker Kedah Menteri Besar Datuk Sri Muhammad Sanusi Mat Noor had in fact personally visited the illegal rare earth mine at the Bukit Enggang Forest Reserve on February 19th.
Sepatutnya kawasan ini kita cordon. Pihak berkuasa kena cordon kawasan ini. Ya. Dan bukti-bukti ini kena preserve. Tapi yang berlaku adalah semua bukti tempat kejadian itu dimusnahkan. Jadi Sanusi kena jawablah. Dia dah pergi tengok.
Stressing that there was no serious action taken by him and his administration afterwards, Datuk Sri Saifuddin said what was more disheartening was that Datuk Sri Sanusi even continued to deny having any knowledge about the matter. Datuk Sri Saifuddin also questioned the possibility that the director of the State Land and Mines Office was also involved in the controversy, in which the person is a member of the state's Mineral Committee, responsible for investigating the rare earth theft under the Kedah Minerals Enactment. Despite the seriousness of this issue, however, no investigation papers were opened to curtail the continuous illegal mining and minerals theft at the Bukit Enggang Forest Reserve. Datuk Sri Saifuddin, who is also PKR Secretary General, also reiterated that he did not fear Datuk Sri Sanusi's threat of a lawsuit over his allegations. Malaysia and Brunei have agreed to strengthen cooperation in the field of youth and sports, as well as in Sharia judiciary, through the signing of 2 Memoranda of Understanding MOU at Sri Perdana on Thursday. Also signed was a treaty on the International Transfer of Prisoners, or ITOP. The signing and exchange of the MOU and the treaty were witnessed by Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim and the Sultan of Brunei, Sultan Hassanel, who is on a 3-day state visit to Malaysia. The MOU on the cooperation in the field of youth and sports were inked by Youth and Sports Minister Hannah Yeoh and her Brunei counterpart, Datuk Sri Setia Awang Nazmi Mohamad. Malaysian Sharia Judiciary Department Director General cum Shari Chief Judge Datuk Muhammad Amran Mat Zain and the Brunei Shari Chief Judge Datuk Paduka Seri Setia Awang Salim Besar signed the MOU on cooperation in Sharia Judiciary. The treaty on ITOP was signed by Home Minister Datuk Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail and his counterpart Datuk Sri Setia Awang Ahmadin Abdul Rahman. Sultan Hassanel and his consort Raja Isteri Pangeran Anak Saleha arrived in Kuala Lumpur on Wednesday for a 3-day state visit to Malaysia until Friday. Earlier, Sultan Hassanel was accorded a state welcome at Istana Negara on Thursday, in conjunction with his 3-day state visit to Malaysia. Upon arrival at the palace at 11 a.m., Sultan Hassanel and his consort, Raja Isteri Pangeran Anak Saleha, were greeted by Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah and Raja Permaisuri Agong Tunku Aziza Maimunah Iskandaria. Also present were Datuk Sri Anwar and his wife, Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah Wan Ismail, Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Fadilah Yusof, as well as cabinet ministers. The state welcoming ceremony began with the singing of the national anthems of the 2 countries by the Royal Malay Regiment Central Band, followed by a 21-gun salute. The Sultan of Brunei then inspected a guard of honour mounted by 4 officers and 103 rank-and-file personnel of the 1st Battalion of the Royal Malay Regiment. Sultan Hassanel and Al-Sultan Abdullah then planted a simpor tree in the palace compound, witnessed by Raja Isteri Pangeran Anak Saleha, Tunku Azizah, Datuk Sri Anwar and Datuk Sri Dr. Wan Azizah. The two kings then held a meeting during which they discussed matters concerning bilateral relations between Malaysia and Brunei, which had existed for so long. Yang di-Pertuan Agong and Raja Permaisuri Agong also hosted a state banquet in honor of the visiting monarch.
It's Malaysia's strongest state, achieving a status that is respected in the ASEAN region and is recognized as one of the ASEAN Tigers.
I'm Zahir Kalvinong Abdullah, and I'll be speaking to Sarawak Premier Tan Sri Abang Johari in Kuching this Saturday at 5 p.m. only on TV3.
The Election Commission EC has set September 9th as the polling day for by-elections in the parliamentary seat of Pulai and the state seat of Simpang Jeram, both of which are in Johor. The nomination day and early voting for the two by-elections were also set on August 26th and September 5th, respectively. According to EC Chairman Tan Sri Abdul Ghani Saleh, the electoral roll to be used for the by-elections is the latest supplementary electoral roll, updated as of July 23rd.
Di PPR bagi PRK Parlimen P161 Pulai mengandungi seramai 166,653 orang pemilih. Manakala di PPR bagi PRK Dewan Negeri N13 Simpang Jeram, Johor pula mengandungi seramai 40,379 orang pemilih.
Dewan Jubli Intan Sultan Ibrahim will serve as the election nomination centre and the official vote tallying centre for the Pulai parliamentary seat and Simpang Jeram state seat by-elections. A total of 2,692 personnel will be appointed to handle the Pulai parliamentary by-election process and 678 personnel to handle the Simpang Jeram state seat by-election process. Meanwhile, the budget allocated to hold the by-elections is 6 million ringgit. The by-elections are being called due to the unexpected vacancy of the seats following the death of the incumbent Datuk Sri Salahuddin Ayub on July 23rd. Meanwhile, Barisan Nasional has decided to let Amanah defend the Pulai parliamentary seat and Simpang Jeram state seat in the September 9th by-elections. BN Chairman Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamadi said the coalition's leadership unanimously agreed that Amanah should contest the two seats, which the late Datuk Sri Salahuddin Ayub held prior to his death.
Kita tahu bahawa kursi Parlimen Pulai itu adalah hak Parti Amanah, iaitu rakan kongsi politik kita di dalam Kerajaan Madani. Maka kita harus menghormati mereka adalah incumbent. Yang keduanya adalah kursi Dewan Undangan Negeri dan itu juga kepunyaan Parti Amanah. Maka atas semangat Kerajaan Madani itu kita akan dokong.
He said this to the media after launching the Job Empowerment by Learning and Inclusive Technical Advancement Jelita TVET program for women in Kuala Lumpur on Thursday. Datuk Sri Salahuddin, who passed away on July 23rd after suffering a brain hemorrhage, had won the Pulai seat in the 15th general election with a 33,174 vote majority. In the 2022 Johor state election, he secured the Simpang Jeram seat by 2,399 vote majority in a four-cornered fight. The Pakatan Harapan and Barisan Nasional Alliance is confident that the Kita Selangor Manifesto, launched recently, will be well received by the people, as it also directs a clear path towards maintaining the continued success, excellence and prosperity experienced by Selangor over the past 5 years. Caretaker Selangor Menteri Besar, who is also State PH Chairman, Datuk Sri Amiruddin Shari, said the 53 pledges outlined in the manifesto can be successfully implemented by the unity government in the state.
Ada dua perkara yang mendapat perhatian yang sangat hebat. Pertama tentang subsidi haji RM2,000 kepada bakal jemaah haji pada tahun-tahun mendatang. Dan yang kedua bantuan RM1,000 untuk wanita yang bekerja. dan saya percaya ia adalah terhasil daripada engagement ataupun hubungan kita dengan publik dan mengetahui antara ciri-ciri penting dan sokongan yang ingin diberikan oleh pihak kerajaan terhadap golongan wanita yang bekerja terutamanya dan juga kepada mereka yang ingin menunaikan ibadah haji.
The key pledges are having a superior economy and quality education as catalysts for high-income employment opportunities, religion as a beacon and inspiration for a dignified life in Selangor, good and efficient government services, development that is sustainable, comfortable and livable, and Selangor being a compassionate state that defends the people's interests. He was met by the media at Sri Pentas, Bandar Utama on Thursday after appearing as a guest on TV3's Soal Rakyat program. The Department of Environment, DOE, is investigating the actual cause of the odor pollution at Sekolah Kebangsaan Sungai Tiram in Johor Bahru, which caused several students to suffer from dizziness and vomiting last Tuesday. Johor DOE Director Dr. Muhammad Fahmi Yusof said preliminary investigation revealed no traces of illegal dumping or scheduled waste discharges at any premises nearby. Dr. Muhammad Fahmi said the monitoring conducted by the investigation team from DOE, together with the Hazardous Materials Unit and Pasir Gudang City Council (MBPG), also revealed that the air quality and samples from the village's water pipes and rivers were normal. He said the DOE has not yet been able to determine the cause, so local investigation will be continued. The DOE, he said, was also investigating an illegally used cooking oil processing factory in the village, which was initially suspected of being involved in the pollution following the discovery of several barrels. Investigation, however, revealed that the affected factory was not involved, as no traces of illegal dumping or scheduled waste was found, and the water pipeline near the factory was not connected to the river. Nevertheless, he said the MBPG has taken steps to seal the factory for illegal operation. In Pulau Penang, an unemployed man has been remanded for 7 days, starting Thursday, for throwing his two nieces, including a 40-day-old baby, in an incident at an apartment in Sungai Pinang, Georgetown. Northeast District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Sofian Santong said the 28-year-old suspect will be investigated under Section 307 of the Penal Code for attempted murder. In the incident on Wednesday, the 40-day-old baby sustained serious injuries to her head after being thrown onto the ground, while her elder sister sustained injuries to her mouth and broke her left leg after being tossed from the first floor of the apartment building by the suspect. Both children are currently being treated at the Pulau Pinang Hospital and remain under close medical supervision. It is understood that the children had been staying in the apartment, which belongs to their grandmother, because their mother was still in confinement. During the incident, authorities said the suspect was naked and bleeding profusely. Police, in the meantime, have obtained a medical report on the suspect to see whether he is suffering from mental health problems. Knife attack wounds a dozen. News from the foreign front when we return. Thursday said a parliamentary vote for the next Prime Minister would be postponed. prolonging a political deadlock that has raised questions about the country's stability since a May general election. According to Parliamentary Speaker Wan Muhammad Nur Mata, the vote for a Prime Minister, which had been scheduled for Friday, could only be held after the Constitutional Court rules on an appeal by Move Forward Party against the thwarting of its bid to appoint a Premier. It was understood that the Constitutional Court will make decision on August 16th before determining when the parliamentary vote will take place. Many voters in the May 14th election rejected nearly a decade of rule by the military and a military-backed government. However, the Progressive Party that won, Move Forward, has been blocked from taking power because of conservative opponents and a nominated upper house. In South Korea, at least one person were killed while a dozen others were left injured on Thursday during a knife rampage at a shopping center in Songnam, just south of the capital Seoul. According to authorities, the incident occurred during rush hour at about 6 p.m. local time, when two suspects rammed their car into pedestrians at the AK Plaza near Sohyun Station in Gyeonggi, before entering the building with a knife and started attacking shoppers at random. One of the suspects was arrested at the scene while the other remains at large. It was believed that the assailant who was arrested is a man in his 20s with a delivery job and is suffering from some mental health issues. The motive behind the attack is still under investigation. The rampage comes 2 weeks after another rare stabbing attack in Seoul, in which one person was killed while 3 others wounded. Typhoon Hanun pounded Japan's southwestern Okinawa and Kagoshima prefectures with heavy rain and gusty winds for a second straight day on Thursday, claiming 2 lives and wounding 62 others. Authorities said an elderly woman in Okinawa died when her house apparently caught fire from using candles since the power had failed. While the other fatality was a man in his 90s who was crushed when a garage collapsed. It was reported that power lines were also brought down by the storm, leaving roughly 166,000 households with no electricity or power. This has also forced at least 314 flights to be cancelled at Naha Airport, affecting over 40,000 passengers. Hanun is predicted to make a sudden sharp turn to the east on Friday and start heading for Japan's main islands. The local weather agency has since called on people to be on the alert for swollen rivers and flooding in low-lying areas. Over in Brazil, at least 9 people were killed in a police raid on Wednesday in the latest incident of deadly violence by local security officials, after 16 people died at the hands of Sao Paulo State Police earlier this week. Police in Rio claimed that they were attacked by armed assailants during Wednesday's operation in the Penang neighborhood. It was reported that 9 of the alleged gangsters were killed, while 1 officer was hospitalized. The violence prompted dozens of protesters to gather in the Brazilian city of Guarujá on Wednesday to denounce a wave of police raid that killed dozens. Lopsided death tolls have become a common occurrence in Rio raids, leading critics to allege excessive force or even summary executions by the police. It was also believed that police regularly do battle with the drug gangs and self-defense militias, who have colonized many of Brazil's poor working-class neighborhoods or favelas. badminton, the 2023 Australian Open. Two national men's singles shuttlers Lee Zijia and Ng Se-yong put up excellent performances to advance to the quarterfinals on Thursday. Zijia won his second consecutive match to reach his first BWF World Tour quarterfinal in nearly 5 months. The 25-year-old, who is currently ranked 17th in the world, brushed aside the challenge of Mithun Manjunath of India in 21-13, 12-21, 21-19 at the Key Centre Court. The victory sees Zijia meet Se-yong, who upset world number 5 from Indonesia, Jonathan Christie. Se-yong triumphed 20-20, 21-15 in 50 minutes to secure his landmark victory over the Indonesian ace, who had prevailed in their 2 previous 3-game thrillers. The world number 21 strained his right ankle in the first game but overcame it to claim the rest of the match. The 23-year-old has been making significant strides as he now boasts 4 victories against top 10 rivals this year. Turning to tennis, the 2023 City Open. Top seed Taylor Fritz claimed his 17th win from 20 matches on American soil this season when he defeated practice partner Zachary Zvajda in straight sets. The 25-year-old American beat his countryman Zvajda 6-3, 6-3 in a match that lasted for 73 minutes to book a spot in the round of 16. Fritz, who is aiming to capture his 3rd title of the season, will play 15th-seeded Andy Murray next. Murray found his way through a compelling contest against American Brandon Nakashima to reach the 3rd round. The 3-time Grand Slam champion and former top-ranked men's player rallied to win the first set tiebreak and beat Nakashima 7-6, 6-4. The 2-hour and 11-minute battle was also Murray's first match win in Washington since 2018. Joining them was Gael Monfils. The Frenchman dismissed 6th-seeded Alexander Bublik 6-3, 6-4 to reach the last 16 in 1 hour and 22 minutes. Monfils, who won this tournament in 2016, will next play Netherlands' Talon Griekspoor. In another action, unseeded Yosuke Watanuki dumped number 3 seed Felix Auger-Aliassime out in a second-round match. A tight contest was settled in 2 tiebreaks, with the Japanese eventually coming out on top 7-6, 7-6 after 2 hours and 28 minutes on court. The 25-year-old Watanuki next faces Ugo Humbert for a place in the quarterfinals. Man seriously injured after lorry's plunge off bridge. The details when Nightline returns. Continues. Yang di-Pertuan Negeri Tun Abdul Taib Mahmud will return to the state soon. Without giving a date, Sarawak Premier Tan Sri Abang Johari Tun Openg on Thursday said Tun Abdul Taib is recuperating after being taken ill while he was on leave abroad and that his health was improving.
Dan keadaannya sekarang ialah sudah pulih. Jadi dia masih rehat dan kita gunalah final report daripada pihak kita itu aja. Lepas tu dia balik.
Tan Sri Abang Johari was responding to rumours on social media about Tun Abdul Taib's health. Previously, it was reported that a fake black and white poster of Tun Abdul Taib with the caption Al-Fatihah was circulating on social media. prompting the state governor's private secretary, Juni Saleh Ahmad, to issue a statement on Thursday denying the allegations. He also said it had come to the Astana Sarawak attention that certain members of the community had continuously harped on Tun Abdul Taib's health condition. The mother of Sultan of Terengganu, Sultan Mizan Zainal Abidin, Tengku Besar of Terengganu, Fatimah Sharifah Nong Alsagaf Abdullah, has passed away at 3:17 a.m. on Thursday. Comptroller of the Terengganu Royal Household, Datuk Muhammad Sofian Abu Bakar, said the remains of Tengku Besar of Terengganu were flown from Kuala Lumpur to Terengganu on a special aircraft at 2 p.m. Her remains were then brought to Istana Al-Muqtafi Billah to enable family and relatives to pay their last respects before the funeral prayers and burial at Al-Muqtafi Billah Shah Mosque, Royal Mausoleum in Ladang at 4 p.m. Sultan Mizan consented to a 5-day mourning period and tahlil sessions to be held for 5 consecutive nights at Istana Sharkiyah starting Thursday night. In other news, in Pera, a lorry driver sustained serious injuries after an accident involving a container lorry and a goods lorry that saw both vehicles plummet off a bridge on the North-South Expressway NSE near Tapa. Perak Police Chief Commissioner Datuk Sri Muhammad Yusri Hassan Basri said in the 7 a.m. incident on Thursday at kilometre 366 northbound of the NSE, both vehicles fell about 15 metres down. The incident is believed to have occurred after the goods lorry lost control and crashed into the container lorry, which was parked on the emergency lane due to a mechanical failure. The goods lorry driver sustained serious chest injuries and is being treated at Tapa Hospital, while the other driver was not hurt. The accident is being investigated under Section 43(1) of the Road Transport Act for negligent driving or driving without due consideration of others. Over in Pahang, police are tracking down a male suspect believed to be armed for his suspected involvement in a robbery in Bentong on Wednesday. In the incident at about 4:40 p.m., a roadside durance stall assistant was robbed of 850 ringgit by a man who appeared to be carrying what looked like a gun. Bentong District Police Chief Superintendent Zaihan Muhammad Kahar said the 38-year-old female foreign worker was approached by the man who drove up to the stall near the Bunus industrial site in a Protonwira. The man then pulled out what looked like a pistol and demanded that the stall assistant hand over all the cash from the sale of the fruits. The robber drove off after taking the money, and the stall assistant was left unhurt. The case is being investigated under Sections 392/397 of the Penal Code for armed robbery. Nightline draws to a close this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look as almost 100 cooks work together to prepare what they hope will be the longest torta sandwich during the 18th annual Torta Fe in Mexico City. With that, I'm Liyana Hassanel. Thank you for watching and stay safe, Malaysia.